name is Kate and I am your host for tonight's episode of Qcafe. Hi guys, welcome back to our page sa inyong paboritong online tambayan. Ayan, so I'm so excited for tonight, like always, because for tonight we have very special guests who will be talking to us about relationships. Ayan, relationships when it comes to raising children during this time of the pandemic. Let me introduce to you our guest speakers for this evening. Our speakers are coaches, consultants, relationship consultant. The first one is Miss Carla Siojo. She is a parenting and relationship specialist with the Love Institute since 2019. She is a graduate of AB Psychology, the professional diploma course on family ministries from Ateneo de Manila, and has also a master's degree in family ministries. Ayan. And Miss Carla worked as a director of the Ateneo Loyola School's Office of Placement and Career Services for 8 years. And she has been a coach at the Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health. She is also a speaker on marriage preparation program of the Center of Family Ministries. This is in CEFAM in Ateneo for 5 years. She is the president of the Asia Pacific Career Development Association and has been the vice president of the Association of Placement Practitioners of Colleges and Universities. Coach Carla also is a and her husband Manolet have been happily married for 39 years. Wow, sana all. All right. And they have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. They are members of the Brotherhood of Christian Businessmen and Professionals and were formerly the president couple. Ayan, wow, power couple. And our co-speaker for this evening is Coach JR Jose Rafael Hernandez. Ayan. Coach JR is a parenting and relationship specialist with also the Love Institute since 2019. He is also a financial wealth planner, coach, motivational speaker at FWD Life Philippines. He spent over 20 years in marketing and advertising industry. He has a wife and they have been speakers in the Discovery Weekend and marriage preparation program for the past 4 years. Coach JR joined the Discovery Weekend together with his wife, Marian, and have been active for the past 14 years. Coach JR and Miss Marian are also members of the Brotherhood of Christian Businessmen and Professionals, Alabang, and they have been married for 14 years and a proud dad of Bobby, who is 13, and Rory, who is 9 years old. So without further ado, let me welcome to you on our Qcafe stage, Coach Carla and Coach JR. Hello po. Good evening.
Hello.
Hi,
everyone.
Kamusta naman po kayo?
Yeah. Well, we're doing good. We're doing good, no? Thank you for having us here. No, it's a nice opportunity to be able to share what we know or what we've studied or what we've actually experienced over the years with a lot of your viewers, no?
Well, it's actually our pleasure because having experts like yourselves po who would teach us how to really navigate through life is such a great opportunity, not only for us organizers but also for our viewers. Coach Carlo, you have a lot of grandchildren. Are they with you?
No. My husband and I, correction, we celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary 2 days ago. No, 3 days ago.
Belated happy anniversary.
Thank you.
14 years. Grabe, sana all talaga. Anyway, I won't keep you long. I'll leave you to your presentation na po. And I will be taking notes just in case for when I have kids na. Take it away po.
Thanks, Kay.
Sharing
Good evening, everyone. So again, I'm Carla, and with me is JR. We are both from the Love Institute. The Love Institute provides systematic programs, curricula, and services to cater to each individual's relationship needs through talks and consultations. Its vision is to equip the individual with the knowledge and skills one may need for one's particular relationship stage: single life, engagement, married life, midlife marriage, and to raising children at different stages of their growing years. The Love Institute by AMD Love Consultants for Families and Couples has been in existence since 2008 and has presented its curricula to various schools, organizations, and companies throughout the country to set foundations for loving relationships to help Filipinos achieve a successful and balanced family life. Yeah. But in a nutshell, we in the Love Institute believe that true love conquers all. Okay. So, parenting in this pandemic is really a challenge that many are faced with since we are all stuck at home. So, we're going to give you some strategies and tips from studies that have been made by various psychologists and experts. And that hopefully you're not treating your children or the people at home like the COVID virus. So let's start with the H, healthy relationships. Healthy relationships are all about connection, building a trusting relationship with the stakeholders in your household. First is yourself. I always believe you cannot give what you do not have. Next is your spouse, for those who are married. Then your children, those living with extended family, them as well, your kasambahay, and even your pet or pets, if you have any. Now, how do you build healthy relationships? I guess it will help if you follow ECQ. E stands for empathize, listen, and seek to understand one another. C, clarify boundaries. Respect each other's privacy and feelings. And Q, quality time with each other, with one another, to show appreciation, and especially with your spouse. Yeah. I always believe that a well put together couple make better parents. And quality time with your kids, of course. That's when you are able to satisfy each other's emotional needs and love languages. And giving them also what we believe in, the 5 A's. What are these? Approval, always sharing with your kids what they do good. Attention, fun time and conversations. Acceptance, letting them know that they matter, that they are unique, and you accept them for who they are. Affection, as I mentioned earlier, love languages. Yan. You show them how much you care for them. And apology is the 5th. It takes humility and vulnerability to be able to say sorry when you make a mistake. Now I'd like to turn the next letter O to JR.
Letter O is for open communication. There are actually two parts here. One is the sharer or the speaker, And the second part is the listener. So whenever you talk, you try to communicate with each other. What's important here is really focusing on validating the feelings of your spouse or your children on a certain behavior. So that's why it's always important to use the I message as the speaker if you want to convey something that you feel on a certain situation. And as the listener, for example, you're feeling you want to talk to your child or your kid or your wife, the receiver of the message in this case would try to paraphrase what you just said. It's important to do this method because it will signify to the one who's speaking that he or she is being listened to, and that he or his or her feelings are actually being listened to, no, and being validated and being recognized, no. So a formula is like this. No? The formula is so the speaker says, no, I feel. So there are four basic feelings. You can classify them as mad, sad, glad, and afraid. So there are different kinds of feelings. So if mad is fuming mad, angry, simmering, if you're sad, just a bit disappointed, glad is happiness, elated, afraid. So depends on what level that you want to share. No? But what's important is you're able to express this feeling. If you can't express it totally, then you just do mad, I'm sad, I'm glad, or I'm afraid. When then you share the experience or the behavior. So if you're the listener naman, what you're gonna do is, okay, let me see, are you saying this, this, and this? So let me see if I got you. I hear you say this. So I'll share with you a sample. For example, you're talking to your 8-year-old son or 8-year-old daughter about asking him to study, di ba? And then he would say, I want to study after dinner. I don't want to study together with my siblings because I'm not yet ready. I'm not ready. I want to play first. So as a parent, when you hear this, what you have to say is actually, let me see if I got you right. Um, you don't feel like studying right now and you prefer to play than study. Is that what you're saying? So you see the contrast. I mean, if you're the one who's just said what you feel, no, you recognize, oh, my mom or my dad is listening to me, and that's where it has to start, so that you'll be able to have this good open communication, and the child will not have a problem actually telling the parent how he feels or she feels in a certain situation. So in response to that, after you say this is your message naman to your child. Son, I feel worried when you don't study right away. So that's the feeling and the circumstance. Then you explain this. You can explain why you feel that way. Because I might not be able to help you later when I'm busy with something else, the things that I have to do. Then you make a request. Maybe you can play a little bit for 20 minutes now, and then you can study for 20 minutes after that. Is that good? Would that be okay with you? So at an early age also, you're also teaching them the skill of proper negotiations. But what's nice here is that both of you are actually speaking in the same plane of understanding or seeking to understand one another, which was very important. And that's what Carla said earlier. So from H to O, open communication. So we now move to M, which is mindful guidance. So I call back Carla.
Thanks, JR. So M, mindful guidance. I guess it's all about empowering our children to behave constructively and appropriately. Because if we're mindful and attentive and really conscious of how we guide them, then it will encourage them to be responsible for themselves, to be considerate for others, and to function well in society. So mindful guidance, it's not disciplining to punish or disciplining to threaten or disciplining to humiliate your child. Okay, so some of these strategies that I'm going to share with you were based on a study by Dr. Pina Lee Chua and Maribel Junicia, the founder of Love Institute. What makes students do well in school? Okay, so as you see there, one is teach and guide, have a schedule for them, study area, and have goals. So first, it's very important to develop good study habits. Yes, create a conducive environment for study, encourage love for reading and judicious multimedia use, ensure solid grounding on what's important, the fundamentals that you believe in, emphasize effort more than ability, discipline with love, and set personal, academic, and life goals with your child. Okay? So these are very important, and these were what helped, these parents, these were what they practiced. These were their 10 best practices, were their practices that helped their children do well in school and be successful, And yeah, this is an example of what you can do consciously and deliberately with your child. Make a schedule, come up with a schedule with them, from the time they wake up until sleeping time, especially now in the pandemic when everything's so free flowing, so many things are overlapping all over the place. It's nice to sit down with your child and come up with a school day schedule, for example. Yeah, this is one example. See, 6 a.m., get dressed, etc. And then, as I mentioned, disciplining with love is very important. How to discipline, So first, you need to agree on the house rules and then implement them, okay? And implementation takes a lot of effort because there's a lot of follow through, okay? But you also need to offer choices within limits, especially for older children. And then if agreements are not met, then apply the natural and logical consequence with firmness and kindness. For example, your child maybe not lost the cell phone, but maybe destroyed your cell phone or a gadget. So what is the consequence? Yeah, there is a cost. He may need to pay for the cost of a new cell phone. Yeah, especially if it's an older child, But I guess if it's a younger child, then we'll have to, reevaluate what the consequence will be. But maybe it could have been also your fault for leaving it lying around, right, in front of a toddler. Okay. It's also important to give another chance and maybe encourage your child to improve and hopefully make better decisions next time. Okay, let's go to E.
Yeah, so E stands for energy for fun and study. Actually, what you have to value here is that each child that you have are individuals. So you have to create the space that you really appreciate them for their good things, and you also know what to watch out for since you've seen them grow up, no? But improve on really appreciating their skills, their talents, what they're good at. For example, my son is very good at he's very good at studying history. So we have nightly conversations about World War II, etc., etc. Whereas my daughter, who's actually she turned 10 last December, no, she likes talking about a lot of things that she finds interesting. It may be a book, or it might be something that she heard from her classmate. In other words, they're two different people. My son is very bookish in that sense, no, but my daughter naman is very sociable naman. So there are merits to that, no. But what's important is that you are able to build their self-worth, no. So if you catch them doing something good like this one, my daughter actually recently she wanted to take up singing during the pandemic, during the break. So we enrolled her in online singing classes. All right, and she's actually continuing now. She's on her third session, or not third session, but but she just already finished her first recital. So she's on her way to her second recital very soon, no? And you compliment her. I'm happy that you're enjoying learning how to sing now online. You know, that's great. You thought of this just to improve something about yourself. And that's very, I commend that for you, for someone at your age, that you're able to really do that, no? So like I said, no, try to catch them doing good. Like an older brother being just brotherly to his younger sister, no? Or volunteering to bake something, 'di ba? And then this is something that I grew up in an environment where a lot of comparisons were made, no? So what you want to do is you don't want to create that environment because each person is different, eh, 'di ba? So you have to encourage them on their own pace and let them bloom on their own, right? So if a painting was done in your behalf or a card, simple thing, anak, ang ganda niyan. Thank you very much. I really love what you did with the extra time that you have on your hands. Oh, that's a nice art project. You know, you don't ask about grades. You don't ask. Just ask, did you enjoy? What's important is you develop the attitude of your children to enjoy doing things, and you will see they will develop their own zeal to really do things the way they want to, in a way, in a manner of really trying to be good at what these are, no? So yeah, we mentioned earlier, Carla and I are from the Love Institute, and this is actually our team. We are composed of several different walks of website. We're composed of psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, uh, camp directors, but our services actually stem, they really range from individual consultation to couple consultation, family consultation, parenting, relationship talks, family healing sessions, marriage preparation. That's also what we also do. That if you have know someone or plan to get married, we prepare them for that as well. There are individual growth sessions, addiction counseling, skills and behavior coaching, psychological assessments, trainers training for the corporate side, and even mental health programs for the workplace. No, so this is the Love Institute. This is our team. And this, you can reach us at these numbers. Our cell phone number is 0917 5927735, and search us up at Facebook. Just type in the Love Institute PH. And you can reach us via email to Maribel and Alan Junisha at gmail.com. All right. So, thank you very much. That's the end of our very short engagement
Presentation.
presentation with you guys. And we wish that we could talk more. Actually, there's so much more about this, that we can share. But we're now open to any questions on the chat box, or even live questions from the viewers who are on Facebook, or even here within the Zoom.
But to summarize, so parenting in this pandemic can be meaningful and really fulfilling if you remember home.
Yeah.
Healthy relationships, keep an open communication, be mindful about the way you guide your children, and make sure you always have energy for fun and the study time of your children. Ayan, no?
Grabe, Coach Carla and Coach JR, I was taking screenshots of your slide because while you were discussing it, I was already thinking of activities I can recommend to my brother for his family, for the kids. Because nowadays it's really hard because we have challenges. We can take the kids out. So grabe talaga. It's been a tough year.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question here. It's it's my personal question because, di ba, it's very typical for a Filipino household to have extended families.
Mm-hmm.
And they said nga, it takes a village to raise a child. Kaso there's this overlapping in parenting styles when it comes to the parents, the grandparents, the titos and the titas. So my question is, how do you really draw the line? Do you sit on it, discuss it? How do you really, what's the best option for you to paano to harapin talaga? Kasi I think this is one of the challenging scenarios na present ngayon. Kasi lahat tayo nakakulong sa isang bahay. So, it can be quite challenging for the dynamics. So, what are your suggestions for this type of scene?
Okay, I'll answer that because I have a personal experience with that. Okay. First, you have to be gentle but firm
Mm-hmm.
in setting your boundaries with the people you live with. Okay. Like my husband and I, when we were newly married, we lived with my in-laws. Okay. And my eldest son was born. And so, we wanted to discipline him in a certain way, or we had our own rules. But of course, with the grandparents, anything goes, right? As my daughter would say, "Ma, how come with Lolo everything is a yes?" Okay, there you go, right? So what my husband did was he spoke to his dad. Yeah, and he told his dad exactly how he felt using, well, he didn't use the iMessage yet, but you can use the communication skill that JR shared earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that could be very helpful, but you really have to set boundaries.
Yes.
And and it could be difficult because for a while, like also my two sons with their families, we lived in one house during the lockdown for a while when they got locked down here. And my other son had different set of rules for his daughters, and my other son had a different set of rules for his son, you know? And so, but as long as it's clear to the child, who's the one to be followed. Yeah, who's the boss in that sense? Well, it depends also on the age, no? It's a good thing naman that my grandchildren at that time were still preschoolers. So, it's simpler that way because then you can really tell them black or white. No is no. And again, use the logical consequence. Yeah. So, okay. So, and communication is the key to anything, and explaining. So my sons would explain to their children would say, how come he could do that and I can't? Because, it's okay with his parents, but with us, it's not. And for as long as you give them a valid reason that they understand,
Yeah.
it helps. And so they were able to, kind of be amicable and live peacefully.
Yeah.
But setting boundaries is very important.
Yeah, I'd like to add lang a little bit for that. Actually, for me, I was fortunate because I never lived with my parents or my in-laws. So when we got married, that was actually a non-negotiable that we would live apart. So we had a very, very small one-bedroom apartment when we started out about 15 years ago. And that actually helped us because the basic rule that we taught our kids growing up is that we have our set of rules in our house, and Dado and Wowa have their set of rules in their house. In the same manner that your uncles and aunties have set. So what I'm saying is the practicality of also doing that is that you're able to respect the personal views, the personal value system of each household, and also at the same time respect other households, diba? What works for them. So it was kind of easier for me, and when because my kids never experienced grandparents on the other side because my wife's parents already passed away when they were born, no? But they were able to witness their grandparents on the mga aunts, mga kapatid, di ba? But so it's not direct. But there was a time that when my dad and my mom were talking to them about gadgets. My son was very young at the time, and my dad had an extra gadget lying around, and he wanted to just give it to my son. No, I said, so, anak, Bobby, ganyan. I just looked at my dad.
Mm-hmm. Nene.
So, it was easy because then my dad just said, you can borrow this when you're here. So, naging ganun lang. But, but again, it's important to set boundaries. It's important to talk lovingly to those, and use the iMessage. Kasi nga, maganda yun sa iMessage is that you're talking from your point of view. You cannot yung kausap mo cannot say you have no right to feel that way. Why? That's how I feel, di ba? So, di ba? So that's the beauty about it. No? There's no judgments or whatever, di ba? Yeah.
But as a grandparent, what I learned was I had to zip my mouth. And I had to remind myself that I am not a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I would just tell my sons, but when you punish your kids, is it okay if you don't punish me as well? Don't use me. But yeah, that was just on the aside. But yeah, I had to respect. Respect is very important. Respect their rules and what they wanted for their children.
Yeah, that's really nice. I often hear my mother tell my brothers about their children, graduate na ako dyan. Ayoko na mag-back subject. Kayo na yan. All right, we have a few questions here po that we would like to ask you. First being, how can I show my children a balance of protecting and equipping them of things to learn when they start to move out of our house in the future? Ayan. So this is quite this is really like a thing. Kasi here in the Philippines, no, hindi tayo gaya ng mga ibang tao na pag 18 ka na, you go out of the house regardless if you can. There you go. Ganon sila kasi, di ba? Sa Pilipinas, hindi. Kahit 40 years old ka na. What are your thoughts about this po, Coach?
I'll let Carla answer this first or ako na? Sige,
Go
I can go
ahead.
ahead. I can go ahead. I can go ahead.
Okay. Muna. Yeah.
Sige, I can go ahead. Well, what's nice about being involved with something like this early on. My wife and I have been involved with the Discovery Weekend before getting married, and we've known Maribel all our married life, and she's actually our marriage counselor, the founder of the Love Institute. You learn how important it is to be very open with your value system.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way to answer your question is evaluate first your value system. What do you want? Kasi I will answer this. I'm not our family is not a typical Filipino value system family because we're very clear with our kids. After you're done with college, di ba? You have to make a go at your own. Di ba? Why? Because we're prepared to take care of you until you finish college. Okay? Anything after that, you have to strive na because to be honest, you got married, you have children, your job as a parent is to equip them with life. It's not to really just keep them with you. But what's beautiful about it in the process, if you do it that way, they're the ones who want to keep on coming back. Diba? So it's very clear, no? So it was very clear for us that we told our kids, even now we talk about it in the dinner table. I mean, everything about, and we're also very open about, what do you want to do? What do you my son, he's 13 years old, but he exactly knows what he wants to be. And he wants to try, he's already researching how he can be part of the UN.
Wow.
Okay, so maybe okay, UNICEF. Sorry, Bob. UNICEF. Okay, UNICEF. Okay, correct pa ako, di ba? Tapos ano yan? So UNICEF, and may vision board siya. He has a vision board at 11 years old.
Wow.
So these are the things that, if you're very open and they're very open with you, these are the things that you discover. And then ikaw as a parent, parang ang daling tulungan, di ba? Kasi they're striving for something and they also know the boundaries and up to hanggang saan, ang expectation, hanggang saan ba yung magulang ko tutulong sa akin.
Yeah.
Di ba? Yeah, Carla, you want to add to that?
Sure, yeah. I guess the goal of every parent should be to teach your child, to raise your child to be independent and to be decent human beings. That should be the goal of every parent. At least that was our goal. No? And the thing is, along the way, of course, it's always going to be there. The tension of every parent is when to hang on and when to let go, right?
When to graduate.
Yeah. And so I guess I remember what my father told me once. He said, you do your best, but at a certain age, you just have to lift them up to God and just trust that, whatever you did or however you parented them was enough.
Yeah.
If there were mistakes along the way, yeah, you just have to trust. And for as long as you've kept your relationship good and there's open communication, they can come back to you anytime, right? For advice, for problems, for, yeah, and it's true. My four children are all happily married, and they got married in their not so, later, in their late 20s and early 30s. So, they kind of left us sooner than the emerging adulthood of now the kids now, they want to marry later. Yeah, but mine married young. And yeah, and it's true. Also, what another friend said, and I experienced it, don't worry when they get married, you'll see them more often. And yeah, in a way that was true because they wanted to bring their kids over, and have lunch because they were tired of doing their own house chores. So can we eat there? Can we go there? Yon. So yeah, but still, there's no place like home.
Yes, I agree. We have a question here on Zoom from Bea. She's asking, until what age is the daily schedule recommended for children? And does this apply for every day, even on weekends? I want my child or children to also be flexible and learn to be spontaneous individuals. How can this balance be created and taught if a schedule is highly recommended?
Hmm.
So, kailan sila pwedeng i-train on a schedule?
Well, actually, ito depends sa age appropriateness. No? For example, if you start early, you set out the schedule for, usually we do it, kami when we started out, it's Monday to Friday, lalo with school. No? It's easier actually kasi may school, kasi may ano. So pag summer, tanggalin mo lang yung study time, although the study time is replaced by probably me time or quiet time, something like that. No? It's when they start negotiating, okay, the age of negotiation, when they start asking questions, when can I do this, when can I get, okay, let's see, okay, what do you want to do here, then you make them be more independent in creating their own schedule. And then the manner of questions, okay, why do you want it there, why do you want it, so you help them process. Okay, and then eventually, like, my son has his own schedule, naging ano lang, check and balance, parang I think it was around 10 when he said, oh dad, this is my schedule for the day, this is for school, so this is what I'm gonna do after school. On a weekend, this is my time, this is my me time. Kasi pagka weekend, parang me time lang yun eh. Di ba? And then kasi we have family time, whatever. Okay, then we just talk to, okay, so I see this is ganito. So, based on this, let's put it on the line, di ba? So he signs. So there's accountability. Di ba? So for example, recently, no, Bubble, talk about you. Okay lang.
Is the contract a first contract for kids?
Yeah, it's a what you're teaching them is actually accountability. What you're teaching them is actually being accountable for the actions that they do. So, for example, my recently my son has increased his playing time in the digital space. Okay,
Alright.
and it has caused him, actually, it's not direct naman, but I don't know, but it came from him kasi some of his grades dipped, no? And I asked him, okay, anak, your grades dipped here. Do you know why? And galing sa kanya, well, I guess I was out of focus. I spent more time here. I didn't follow the schedule and yan. So, yada. So, okay, so what do you think is What do you think is what are we going to do? So yun nga, natural. So binawasan namin yung stated gadget time niya. That's one. And then here's the next question. How else can I help you? All right? And then he said, Dad, I don't want to bother you or mom because you also work, so I can't expect you to can you get me a tutor for that subject? Okay, we'll look for a tutor for that subject. So you see, that's the value of being, giving them a little bit of independence.
Yeah.
So it's the to be, a rigid schedule is until they start asking, why are they doing this? Then you explain, well, this is what we thought was good for you at the time. Yeah. So why? What do you want to change here? Diba? So that's how you start. No? It can be an earlier age. Mine happened around 9 years old, when they're 8 years old. That's when it started. Carla?
Yeah, it's really true when you said that. I mean, that it happens when the child already has this age of negotiation.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
And my niece, it started when she was 4.
That means kasi may consciousness. That means may consciousness
That's
siya.
good.
There, which is she's asking lang bakit, 'di ba? So that's a trait of a very inquisitive mind, 'di ba? So that's okay.
Yeah, it's so wonderful that your niece is curious.
So,
Yeah,
minsan
but
sobra na eh.
yeah, but really the goal of having a schedule and disciplining them is really so that they learn to be self-disciplined, so
Yeah.
that they learn to be responsible for themselves.
Yeah.
But when you come up naman with that schedule with them, it's not etched in stone, it's always negotiable, right? It can always be changed, depending on the needs. If it's summer break, it doesn't have to be like that because you don't have to study every day, something like that. So
Yeah, somehow, I mean, if I may add, it also becomes like a two-edged sword kasi for the kids. Like, I've noticed this with my niece. When you're very strict with the schedule kasi, tapos hindi niya na-follow yung schedule, she's too hard on herself.
Hmm.
Like, she has this schedule kasi with me because I teach her how to be creative and then we do that on Canva. Canva is
Yeah.
an app where you edit.
yeah.
She's 5 years old and she loves Canva already. So, every 5 o'clock in the afternoon, kukulitin niya na ako sa office. Tita Kate, I wanna use Canva. I wanna edit on Canva. Eh kapag minsan, 6 o'clock na, naalala niya, nagkamali siya, hindi siya nakapag-Canva ng 5. So feeling niya, wala na, hindi na ako nakapag-Canva ng 5. And it's just so hard on herself. Na
How do you deal with that, Kate?
what I would tell her is, there's always another day tomorrow. O just think of what you were gonna do for tomorrow, prepare for it. Kasi I always try to set screen time talaga. Kasi, oh my gosh, gadgets. She's 5 and by eyeglasses na rin siya.
Yeah.
So yeah, kaya I really feel na it's really hard to adult.
Hindi, pero first of all, tama yung ginagawa mo. No? You tell her that it's not the end all. I mean, but their world is so small kasi, di ba? So it's an opportunity for you to widen your world, di ba? So for example, if you can also introduce her to other activities na not necessarily online, di ba? So something that's more tactile or whatever, di ba? But the reality is, this world of ours is really digital and they're digital natives eh.
Yeah.
So what you have to do lang is, okay, balik ka na naman sa values. Okay, how do you use technology? How do you use the tools that are available to you today to still progress the values that you want to impart on them? So that I think that's the way to do it. No?
Conversations like this matter talaga kasi most of the time talaga we do not know how to say things right. Tama sa utak natin, but when we speak it, nagkakamali tayo. So, really hard pa on the kids. Yes, Coach Carla, you were saying?
Yeah, but Bea was saying something about the spontaneity, about being spontaneous, not being too rigid with yourself. Like your niece nga, she would get upset pag off schedule or whatever. No? I guess like anyone, we need a day off. We need a rest day. So maybe you can agree on a rest day. Sunday, do what you like. Wallow in nothingness. It's okay to make tunganga and not do anything. Something like that. Have time for that as well. Because you need rest also from your schedules. Diba? Everybody needs to have breathing space, so to speak. Diba?
Yeah, I was quoting you on this, Coach Carla. Make tunganga, it's okay.
Yes! I know
Tunganga
that
time. Tunganga time.
I grew up in a family that if you're not doing anything, parang ang tamad-tamad mo. Well, you're labeled right away when actually, no. The kids now don't know how to rest, and rest is very important. Everybody needs time for the self and to recharge. It's like a battery. We also get depleted of our energy. And so we have to find ways to recharge.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that people nowadays, especially during the lockdown na, increase yung parang wanting to be productive. Tapos pag hindi sila productive, they're too hard on themselves talaga. We have a viewer on Facebook who has a question, GY Asuncion. She's asking, how do you talk to your kids po? Kaya about friends influencing them, lalo na pag hindi maganda. minsan pinipilit pa na tama sila. How would you handle it? For example, TikTok. Sa sister ko, ayoko pa talaga siya mag-TikTok using lip tint. Imagine 10 years old. 10 years old pa lang daw siya. So the question is, yung influence of other people on the like younger sister or child, how do you like, mediate? Paano siya dapat i-control?
Yeah, first, you have to bracket your feelings, why are you so affected? What is affecting you about it? No? But I guess whenever you talk to your child, you have to be in curious mode. It's to understand better, to get first the facts. Don't make judgments first. Diba? JR, you want to add?
Yeah, actually, you have to figure out why. So there's a need. There's a need that, but you have to understand what the need is. Why does she have to put on lip tint, or why is it appealing to her? What does it make them feel, diba? You have to process that. Because if you're able to process that and search what causes it, or what kind of feeling is, and then you can probably provide an alternative. Diba? So instead of, kasi the reason why we react the way, because meron tayong judgments, tama si Carla, meron tayong judgment, bakit bata pa niyan, ganyan, di ba? But, di ba?
Or makeup ka na.
Makeup, yeah. So, but again, why do you do that? Because it makes me feel beautiful. Why don't you feel beautiful without it? Yan. So, nagkakaroon na ng depth ngayon, di ba? So, that means it might even be an aha moment, but there's something that you're not doing as a parent. But baka there's not much affirmation from your side. Di ba? Then it's a hard pill to swallow when that realization hits you, but di ba? But that's how it is.
Escalated quickly,
Ha?
That escalated quickly from to biglang you're not doing anything. Maybe you have done something wrong as a parent.
Oh, di ba? But ganun di ba? But little things, di ba? Little things. Kids are very expressive.
Yes.
Diba? Until such time, be worried when they cannot share what they feel. That's when you have to be worried. That means somewhere along the way, the safe space is no longer safe for them to share anything with you. And as a parent, growing up, that's what you want to create. A safe space. So, imagine mo na lang, growing up, kung panay negative lang naririnig mo. Imagine mo growing up, laging mali na yung pinupunta sa'yo, di ba?
Yes.
Do you think that when that child gets into real trouble, pupunta ba yun sa'yo? Hindi.
No.
See? So, that's we have to but again, don't blame yourself if you don't parent that way. You mean, yes. Diba? I mean, we all just products of how our own upbringing, our own value system. And it's when you try to look into these things, the important thing is you have the power to change. You have the power to figure out, okay, what's important for me and my family values. And then you progress and figure it out as a family, how to get there. Diba? Take the journey as a family.
That's actually sound advice. Yeah. I as you were saying that, I was already thinking about how me and my parents, yung relationship namin right now, especially that I am an adult, pero hindi pa rin nila ganun katanggap. Yeah. Sometimes my parents, diba? I mean, I'm an only girl po kasi, tas ako bunso. So, I have 2 older brothers, tas ang layo ng gap. So, my parents, sometimes they think I'm still a little girl. And I really had to had to sit down with them and really talk to them about parenting me. Kasi although I'm already an adult, I still need parenting. Kaso it's a different, it's a different stage altogether. Kasi sabi ko nga, as we grow old, we are still really figuring things out. And it's really nice to have experts like you guys who we can go to and then consult with. And it's nice that because of the internet right now, it's easy to communicate even though online. So I would like to ask how we could reach out to the Love Institute. Can you walk us through the process? Can you give us a benchmark of how much it would cost, yung mga ganong stuff, so that the viewers would have an idea if ever they would need counseling, how would they go through it?
Okay.
We're on Facebook. I think, JR, would you like to show that last slide?
Yeah, I'll know. I'll send
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
you can reach us through Facebook, and somebody will respond there. In fact, at this point, I would also like to invite you to the School for Parents Season 5 that will start on October 18. It's 8 modules with 8 videos and 8 weeks of coaching on Saturdays with Maribel Junicio, Aiza Tabayoyong, and Dan Caballes. Yeah, so we can share with you the flyers later on, and then you can post it in your Facebook page as well to share with your viewers. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
There.
you can take a screenshot of this. I'll give you a few moments so you can take a screenshot of it. But the easiest way is just type in Facebook search the Love Institute PH, and you'll be able to go to our page. And yeah, just engage yourself in the chat, in the messenger chat, and very specific, no? And then we have actually our admin people who can actually direct you to the experts depending on what you need, no?
Or do you have like face-to-face consultations, or like right now? Is it are you tumatanggap?
Well, not all of us are comfortable with face to face.
Okay.
Okay, but again, what our basic assessment is usually what is best for the client. So that's the initial first, and then we'll see how we can work it out. No, but a lot of our sessions so far, a lot of just asked via Zoom. So we do have our own Zoom account, so that's no problem. And yeah, it's hard to answer your question about rates because it depends. It depends on what you need, and it also depends on who needs to be the one you're talking to.
Okay.
Diba? So, but
can be actually assessed naman po, no, when they inquire something.
Yes, definitely. And just to add, no, with Carla, when she was mentioning about School for Parents, the basic format is that you'll be invited to a Facebook page or a group page where all the videos will be released on a weekly basis, and at the end of every week there are actually coaching sessions.
Okay.
So Maribel, Dan, and Aiza are the main ones on the videos sharing the principles. And then when it comes to coaching naman, there's some sessions that Carla's there, there's some sessions that I'm there.
Yeah.
So what's nice about it is you'll have points of views of both parents, different ages, different genders. Diba?
Is this a paid course po?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have like a poster po so that our viewers can have an overview, or is it available on the Facebook page na lang?
Yeah, you can check in the Facebook page. If it's not posted yet, then you can just inquire about it, and we will have the dates.
I'll send you a flyer.
Yeah, or for your cafe, we can send you a flyer so you can post it as well for all the parents who are listening. Yeah.
All right. This is noted po. Ayan, thank you so much po for coming in tonight and teaching us all about relationships. Nag-ano talaga sa akin. My biggest takeaway for tonight is really like I learned a systematic way of parenting, which is yung home. Ang galing talaga no, kapag merong mga abbreviations. It's really easier for you to really absorb it. So I will be teaching this to my nephew and my nieces tomorrow. Agad-agad. We need to integrate it agad. Anyway, ayun po. So thank you so much to our coaches for this evening. I hope you guys learned a lot from our speakers, and we hope that we earned the privilege of your time tonight. We'll see you again next week for another session of Qcafe. Don't forget to like and follow the page of the Love Institute, and of course Moose and Core for more learnings like this every Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. here at Moose and Core. Maraming salamat po, and have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.